Dictionary doesn't know the meaning of friends. And if you ask me, you know I couldn't be much help, because a friend's somebody you judge for.
I said to the congressman, I didn't know he could preach like that.
Yo!
Hey, and happy Saturday to you all. This is WD3. This is your Hill Report news break. We are so happy to be here in front of you right now. This is some very exciting times, a very exciting candidacy on both sides. Kamala Harris particularly. Some people are confused because during the California races and earlier in her career, she was the first Indian American. Now she's the first African American Black presidential candidate. We support it all: Indian, Black, white, Chinese, whatever. As long as you have good ideas and good policies. The way that guy looked at Kamala in that first video with the side eye, I know it's a split screen video, but man, he really felt that. I think a lot of people need to give Kamala Harris a break. Early on in a lot of people's political career, they had ideas, they had dreams, and hey, they made mistakes. I think it's going to all play out. I don't think the dust has settled, as we talked about before, but for right now, let's take a deeper dive at Kamala Harris and can she win over the Black voters?
So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No.
Why did y'all pass a law only for Asians? Why did y'all pass a law only for Native Americans? Why did y'all pass a law only for transgenders? Why did y'all pass a law only for LGBTQs? Why did y'all pass a law only for immigrants? If you can't do anything just for Black people, this is what she said. It came out of her mouth. If you can't do anything just for Black people, how was it possible for you and President Biden to do all these other things for specific ethnic groups in this country, from whose benefit no other group?
I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No. And taken to the Americas, to the Caribbean, to be an enslaved people. What happened here must always be remembered. It cannot be denied. It must be taught. History must be learned. And we must then be guided by what we know also to be the history of those who survived in the Americas, in the Caribbean, those who proudly declare themselves to be the diaspora. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No.
Do you support reparations for Black people?
Well, listen. Again, we had over 200 years of slavery. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No. We had legalized discrimination, segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No. And in particular, Black people have not. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up. That's why, for example, I'm proposing the LIFT Act. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No. Which will benefit and uplift 60% of Black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects Black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you would explore?
But no, if you look at, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No. The reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit black children, black families, black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No. And we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen, the reality also is this. Any policy that will benefit black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No, because whatever benefits that black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country, right? I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No.
Well, believe it or not, and like it or not, Dr. Umar Johnson is a heavy hitter as far as weighing in on black issues. A lot of people, whether they agree with him or not, like to hear what his opinion is on any particular subject. Very interesting, among other people. Um, also, you also got a chance to see Kamala in Africa. Now, they always like the optics of having a black candidate or any candidate going and really showing sympathy for the slaves and for what went on. But what we want to know, descendants of slaves, are when are you all going to do anything that evens the playing ground for us? We're hardworking people, very talented. Sometimes the system and the actual rules work against us in a lot of cases. Good apples, bad apples, but we're definitely team players, and we want to be a great part of this nation, and our vote counts. So let's demand these politicians do something for us.
And one more thing. The Democratic Party, if you still on the Democratic plantation of black folks, I don't know what to say. Kamala Harris can't win. Since Joe Biden dropped out, Kamala Harris is not beating Donald Trump at all. So, you're doomed. Kamala Harris can't win, and she already said she's not going to do anything for black people. You know, so if you want me to do something for black people specifically, no, that's what she said. So she's not the candidate for us. For one, she's not even considered black. And for two, she don't have the best interest for us anyway. Neither does these candidates do. The only person I could say that probably would be a good choice is RFK. But other than that, no, it's not going to work.
One of the things that we do need to demand as a voting bloc is we cannot be overly proportionately filling the jails and prisons. It's a blatant kick in the face, a blatant disrespect. People who have dignity, people who have jobs, people who have family and careers, they don't go out committing crimes. So we see through some of the holes in the system. Uh, Definitely, if you're a candidate that wants to uh, fancy yourself as the first black this, first black that, well, you better deliver for the actual voting block that you are courting, right? It's only fair. We need to hold off our vote and start demanding that. Well, this is WD3. This is your Hill Report news break. We took a deep dive. Can Kamala Harris win over the black voters? Have a great Saturday.